Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to the latest edition of the We Can't Wrestle podcast. The Maxon brothers here with you. I'm Nate. That's Aaron.
Hello.
And we are back after, 3 weeks ago we did Clash 13. We're back into our Clash of the Champions series as we're moving into Clash 14 here, going to January 30th, 1991.
Yes.
The last show we did, we took a little detour and did the Hall of Shame. And then, unfortunately, I apologize to everybody. We didn't have any of our WNR podcast shows last week, neither We Can't Wrestle or Reliving the Extreme, because, well, big windstorm come through, knockout power and internet.
Yes.
During the time we would normally be recording the shows, there was, the internet was fucked up. The power was out at certain points. It was chaos. So we packed it in for last week and didn't do any shows, but we're back. Now it's just hotter than.
I'll take that over what we went through.
Yeah. Bobby Heenan would say hotter than two weasels in a tube sock.
Yeah.
Well, at least it's not like, at least it's not like back in 2012 when we had that derecho thing and the wind took out the power and it was hot. For like 4 days, we didn't have power, and it was like 96 degrees. So at least the two things didn't combine this time.
Yes, people just wanted cigarettes, and nobody could. It's just like nobody could get anything.
And then terrible. And then people are highly agitated because it's so hot.
Yeah, and then before that, we had that tornado.
Yeah.
Wait, the derecho.
The derecho.
That was years ago.
That was 2012, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. That because we lost power, and then they brought us a reefer truck at work, and they parked it on the wrong side of the building. We're like, oh no. So then, like, my boss is like, go out and ask any of them truckers if they'll move it. I'm like, I don't know if they will,
Mm-hmm.
And I knocked on one guy's door, and he was like, said, hey man. Like, that's why I brought up the cigarettes thing. I was like, hey man, they parked a trailer on the wrong side of our thing. Like, I could give you, my boss said I can give you like 20, 25 bucks if you move it. And he goes, what good is money right now? So you've got a point. Like, you can't spend anything.
Right.
So he was like, just give me 2 packs of cigarettes. I was like, that's the equivalent of like what my boss wants to pay you.
There we go. Made a deal. Like we're in prison. We're bartering in cigarettes.
And they were like, he's going to be mad. You gave away cigarettes. I was like, I just gave away cigarettes to save all this food. I think it'll be all right.
And then for some reason. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, say what you say.
Yeah, I was just going to say. And then for some reason, do you ever, sometimes I get a song stuck in my head that I've heard recently. It'll get stuck in your head because you've heard it. Yeah. I got a song stuck in my head right now that I haven't heard, in a while. I mean, I don't remember the last time I listened to it, but I know I didn't listen to it this week. For some reason, for 2 days on repeat in my head, King Tut by Steve Martin. It's just been, I'm just like, buried with a donkey, he's my favorite honky. Like, it's like my entire internal thought process right now is King Tut by Steve Martin.
It would have been one of the top 2 songs of 1990 of the beginning of the year. But will you ever be like, I haven't watched this show in a long time, so I'll just rewatch it?
Yeah.
You ever done that just randomly?
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, I hadn't watched Falling Skies in like 5 years or whatever. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna watch it, And it's fun to watch shows like that after you've already watched it because it's a ridiculous show. It's fun. Like, you like it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's a fun show, and you got to take it what it is because it's a fucking science fiction show about multiple alien invasions and everything. But you know what's really funny about it?
What's that?
Like, if they want to kill off a character but have no repercussions for it, they'll just like, oh, let's just infect this guy with an alien and he'll kill it.
Yeah.
And then the alien will go away and everybody will be like, well, it wasn't his fault. It was the alien. And then they just go back like nothing happened. You know what I mean? Like, let's put him in a room for a couple days to make sure everything. Let's just put him in a room for a couple days, make sure he's all right. Like, all right, he ain't got no earworm. He's all right. Let's let him back in. couple people are mad about it for a week. They're like, it wasn't him, it was the alien. I'm like, you're right. It's cool. I just like, it's just shows ridiculous, but it's so fun.
Well, now we will go to what our topic of discussion, of course, is going to be Clash of the Champions from January of 1991. Yes. It's kind of a rough one, folks.
Yeah.
But first, let's get into the Wayback Machine.
Yes. Like I said, I couldn't find the movies for some reason. Every once in a while, it's hard to track down the movies. But songs, I found those. So it's the top songs well, technically, it was the closest I could get was January 27th, 1990, but we're talking about January 30th. So I'm sure it stayed the same. But the number one song in America, I don't know who on this card would be listening to this in their car. But it's How Am I Supposed to Love Without You by Michael Bolton.
Tom Zank.
I don't see any of these people listening to Michael Bolton. Like not even Missy Hyatt. Yeah, I didn't see her listening to it.
I should have went more comedic and been like, fucking Fidel Sierra is listening.
Or Sir Oliver Humperdinck. I don't know this one. He wasn't on this one. He was on the next one. Wasn't he? I don't think he was on this one.
No, he wasn't on this one.
Yeah, I got ahead of myself and watched another one. And then the other top song in America at this time was Opposites Attract by Paula Abdul.
It's a fun video. It's a fun video for its time, yeah.
But you know how like when obviously when Weird Al hits with a banger and you can't hear the actual song without hearing the parody of it?
Yeah.
I can't hear that song because they play it at work. I can't hear that song without thinking of the Family Guy. You ever seen that?
Yes.
Where they parody the video and it's like exactly the same thing, but instead of opposites attract, he's like, "'Cause I'm dressed like a cat."
Yes.
Like that's all I think of when I like Peter's character nimbly moving, doing everything, but that's like, "'Cause I'm dressed like a cat." It's so stupid. But yeah, I can't not hear Peter Griffin singing that song without anyway. So those are the two songs. But something I thought was fun was this is actually Dusty's first big show back.
I mean he was just at the Rumble like a week before this.
Yeah, so like he's back as a booker. So I think that might be part of the reason why this show's a little rough. You know?
Yeah.
Partially. But when I was watching the credits, so it's kind of funny because we're going to talk about something that's in the show at the beginning of the show. Every once in a while, I like to look at the credits because I like to try to find funny names. Because there used to be a guy on the old NWA crew named Phil Dickey, which I always just thought was like the child in me was like Phil Dickey.
Phil Dickey.
But there's one guy on this thing. He's the transportation supervisor. His name is Homer Adcock. I'm like, okay, that's a hell heck of a name, man. Homer Adcock. But what I thought was interesting was it had a list at the close to the end of Virgil Runnels' assistants, which is basically Dusty Rhodes' road agents. So this is the crew that he put together. That like when he got brought back as the boss, he was like, "This is gonna be my crew." I don't know if you noticed that or not.
I did not,
but I figured I'd read to you who it was because this is kind of like Vince had like Pat Patterson and
Bruce Pritchard.
Trying to think who else. Rene Goulet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is like
Tony Gurria.
Yeah, this is kind of like his road agents and his main assistant. His main assistant was pretty much everybody's main assistant in WCW was Janie Angle.
Mm-hmm.
So that lady, like, she, as far as I know, she was through like thick and thin, man. Nobody got rid of her.
Yeah.
Uh,
She knew where the bodies were buried.
yeah. But his booking agents or road agents, whatever you want to call them, were Terry Allen, obviously, which is
Mm-hmm.
Magnum TA. Um, Mike Graham, another guy that he was always kind of associated with, and I never understood it. It's like the one guy that Dusty always had around, and this company always had around until I think until about Nitro kicked off. So I'm like, why do they have this guy? It was Grizzly Smith.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
I think it has to do. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that he was, once it became a part of the Turner organization, at least. So then your roots go from being in the Carolinas to being in Georgia, and I think he was in the Mid-South area, like just that Georgia Mid-South
Well, I
area.
know, but my main thing is it's like I always heard it was like everybody kind of knew, but nobody talked about it thing.
Oh, what a
You know
creep
what
he
I mean?
was! Yeah.
Yeah, like even Bill Watts used him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like here, this guy's a fucking pervert. Get rid of him. But anyway, and then and they use their real names. Like they list their real names. Like now I can never pronounce Grizzly Smith's real name.
Aurelius.
Oh yeah, Aurelius, whatever. And then the last one it's listed as Joe Hamilton, but it's assassin number one, Jody Hamilton. So
Yeah.
that's like that's his crew. I just think about those guys being like, I was like, yeah, it actually makes sense. It's
Yeah, and
Florida, and
I know that when I don't know how long it lasts, but I know that when obviously, like I said, I don't think it was a week. I think the Rumble was like January 19th. So, and he had also probably talked to Vince and agreed to all this, but so it's been about 11 days between the Rumble that he and Dustin wrestled, DiBiase and Virgil, to this. And I'm sure he was building his team and stuff before he even showed up. I'm getting to a point. There is a window of time, and I honestly can't remember how long it is. I'd have to go look. There is a window of time where Ole is still there with him.
yeah,
As part of the committee, but I honestly can't remember how long that lasts. But I mean, we haven't got to Shockmaster yet, so it's at least into '93.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of like I said. I just thought it was kind of interesting. Of saying, okay, this is like I'm coming in, baby, but these are my brain
boys.
trust. This is my brain trust.
This is my inner circle, if you will. So I just did a quick Google, and I know this isn't the specific week, but just because I was interested, I did a quick Google on the. It just comes up with January 1991's top movies, the month itself.
Okay.
And Home Alone is number one. We talked about extensively about Home Alone. Now, number two is also low-key one of my favorite early 90s comedy movies. Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Oh, yeah. Kindergarten Cop.
Kindergarten Cop.
Not a tumor.
You lack discipline.
You lack discipline.
Remember the guy that would do the crank calls?
Oh, yeah.
Back in the early days of YouTube, he would do, or I think it was on YouGo.com, and he had the soundboard. He would crank call somebody. Yeah.
They'd be like, thanks for calling your Centerville 7-Eleven. How may I help you? Who is your daddy? And what does he do?
Excuse me, sir? You lack discipline.
You lack discipline. It's not a tumor. Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
It's just one of those quotable movies. It's a fun movie.
Yeah. It's just a fun, quirky movie, and I don't know. Part of it's like if that movie starred anybody other than Arnold Schwarzenegger, it probably wouldn't have worked.
Right.
I don't know. But that would have been like Bruce Willis. I like Bruce Willis.
Yeah, but you put Big Arnold in that little like the little chairs in the classroom and stuff with his accent interacting with the it's comic gold, baby. It's comedy gold.
They got the little munchkin principal. Looks like the lady from The Incredibles. That's a good movie.
It's a fun flick. All right. So unless there's something else, we'll get into the meat of the matter here.
I don't know.
Clash of the Champions 14, January 30th, 1991, Gainesville, Georgia, at the Georgia Mountain Center. 2,200 in attendance for this show. And
the only thing I really learned...
I was just going to say, this is one of those... 91 is an interesting year in wrestling in both promotions. And it kind of starts... The ball starts rolling in the late summer because I know this is WWF, but Sergeant Slaughter gets heated up because of the Persian Gulf War, and that whole thing's going on. Between the last show and this show, Mean Mark has left. He is now the Undertaker in the WWF. Dusty Rhodes has left the WWF and come back to WCW, obviously, as we discussed.
Yeah.
Lots of moving and shaking as 91 goes on. Obviously, we'll get later on to the Flair situation, but it's an interesting year, especially in WCW.
Sid should be out soon.
Sid's in the WWF by June, July, because he winds up at SummerSlam.
Yeah, so there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of changing going on. 91 is kind of a funky year in wrestling.
Did we ever have a discussion? I know we have had discussions before on the shows about whether certain matches certain guys ever wrestled each other or something.
Yeah.
The reason I'm asking is, did we ever have a discussion about whether we had seen Randy Savage versus Roddy Piper at any point? I don't know if we did or not.
I think so.
But because the
I don't
reason
think they ever televised.
No, see, the reason I asked, and it's totally random, but the 91 thing got me thinking about it. In late 90, because I was watching some of my Coliseum video collection, in 1990, they released WrestleFest 90 on Coliseum Home Video, and there is a match between Roddy Piper and the Macho King Randy Savage with Sherry at ringside. And when I was watching it, I was like, oh, they did have a match. And imagine the craziness of these three.
Oh, yeah.
And putting a match together. But yeah, anyway, this is kind of random, but just this time frame got me thinking about, because I was just watching that the other night. I was like, they did have a match.
Does he get disqualified, or does he pin Randy?
Nope. Double count out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's very few people that he lost to, just lost to.
Yeah. Bret Hart, Piper, Bret Hart. I mean, obviously, there's probably there's plenty before he becomes a huge star. But yeah, you're right.
No.
Like, he took that loss.
Go ahead.
He took that loss to Bret at Mania 8. I don't think he ever legitimately got pinned by Hogan ever.
No, but by the time he got by the time he got big in Portland, that was like his thing was, I don't lose.
Yeah,
I'll get disqualified, or I'll get counted out, or whatever. But you ain't gonna pin or submit me. It is what it is.
All right, so I took us off on another exit ramp. Let's get back on the highway here.
You say the only significant thing wrestling wise I could find about this Georgia Mountain Center or whatever, or just really the only significant thing was it's where Harley Race regained his NWA championship from Wildfire Tommy Rich.
Somebody say something about getting pinned by Harley Race.
And 7 days after I won it. Because they mentioned Tommy Rich won the NWA championship in this state because he's on this show, obviously. But it's like, hey, it's not mentioned that he lost the belt in this building. But anyway,
the opening of the show, Gary Michael Caputa.
Caputa.
I did put down here, it's no big deal, but you think about little things. They have the flag bearers there, the guard, and they have but anyway, Gary Michael Caputa says, "Please rise, please stay risen or whatever. Please stay on your feet for the singing of the national anthem." And then they proceed.
Sings.
Yeah, nobody sings. They play it on trumpets. No big deal. I just thought it was funny. I was like, because when they say singing and it's WCW, I'm like, ooh, which country star with an awful mullet is going to be singing
and a gigantic mustache? They'll say multi-platinum country artist, and you're like, I have no idea who that guy is.
There's one pay-per-view where isn't it like they're like the lead singer of the band Thunderfoot or something. I don't know.
Thunderbutt.
Other than Aaron Neville, they never hit with the singing of the national anthem.
They never got anybody that was anybody. Bobby Heenan. Did you like how Aaron Neville sung that? Yeah, I really enjoyed it. That was me. He was lip syncing the whole thing.
And then he looks over
and sees Aaron Neville. They show him Aaron Neville staring at him. He's like, "Oh, hey,
he's a big guy.
He's a big guy." Like they knew that angle was funny, and Aaron Neville looking at him with that cowboy hat. That shit's gold, man. But anyway.
But yes, as we alluded to at length already to begin the show, Dusty is back. He's commentating on this show with Jim Ross. And we're opening up with...
He did it. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say Dusty, he steps away after a while, but he's doing at first what any good booker, owner, whatever you want to call him, is going to do that isn't going to be in the ring. It's like, if I can't be the top guy in my company, I'm going to be the guy talking about it. You know what I mean? Like people make fun of Bill Watts because he was always out in the booth, but it's like, who's going to have more drive to talk about your product and get it over more than the guy that's running it? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And getting across on television the message you want to send out.
Yep. The same way with Vince.
And there's a reason that Vince chose Gorilla to be the other guy. Because you watch in
the shit as I am.
You watch, I always laud how much I love the way that Lance Russell is, he's one of my favorites, and I love the way that he is the storyteller of Memphis. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he's integral to because he's the guy that you trust. He's integral to the storytelling, and he's integral to getting the stories over. And I really do think that people don't appreciate how good Gorilla was at being that guy on primetime. I know it was a different cadence and a different presentation, but Gorilla Monsoon did that on primetime wrestling.
Yeah.
Anyway. But yes, I totally agree with you. If you're, if you can't be the top guy, you want to be the voice.
Yep.
And JR and Dusty are here on the call. Of course, I always enjoy Dusty. The opening match is for the World Tag Team Championships. It is the Champions Doom with their badass music against Sting and the United States champion Lex Luger.
Sting's badass music.
And Sting, yes. I like this music much more than the Man Called Sting song.
But he's big as a bear and quick as a cat.
He does this.
He does this and he does that.
That's something we should do when the time comes, when we get into that, like the WCW, when WCW had like their theme song,
Slam Jam
or whatever, with all the, we should definitely bring up some of the lyrics to some of those songs and just read them.
Yes.
Because the Ron Simmons one is fun. The Ricky Steamboat one's lame.
That's the worst wrestling theme song of all time. There's nothing worse than that song. Just Look at Me for Rob Conway is better than that.
So Doom is out. They're defending the tag team titles. There's no Teddy Long at ringside, which Dusty and JR make a point to say, why isn't Teddy Long here? He should be here. His guys are defending their titles against two big stars.
Dusty elaborates or tries to insinuate that Teddy Long is just out spending all their money. Like he's just out wasting their money.
Holla, holla, holla. That's how he got that. Managing Doom is how he got his implants to have two front teeth again. Because after he manages Doom, he's got teeth. If you notice. I don't have a lot of notes on the match other than I was actually considering the talent involved. I was actually kind of let down by this match.
Yeah, I think I didn't write it down, but I was like, I might write this down. I was I made a joke in my head, but when they right before the bell rung or whatever, and all four of them were standing in the ring, I'm like looking at the four guys. I'm like, maybe these guys should I don't know, hit a gym or something. Joking in my mind because it's like, Jesus Christ, look at these four guys.
Look at these fucking monsters. I did actually. People. It's funny.
Like you forget how big You forget how big of a guy Sting was because of the end of his career and how he had to wear the long suit, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the big outfit and all that, which is fine. But it's like you forget at one point. It's like, Jesus Christ, man.
I actually, it's funny because I didn't write it down. I'm glad you said that because I didn't write it down. But I remember thinking when they were, like you said, when they were all, at the beginning where they're just kind of sizing each other up or whatever, and all four men are in the ring. I actually literally remember thinking, man, Butch Reed looks fucking big right here. Like he looks like, I mean,
he's the biggest I've seen him.
Yeah, damn.
All four of them, and none of them were ever out of shape. Okay, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But watching it, I was like, at this point right here, they're all four of these guys are at the peak of their physical condition.
Mm-hmm.
Like Ron was never out of shape,
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, like in '92 when he was with Vader and all that, he was cut and everything. But by the time he becomes Farouk, he's not as defined as what he was, And obviously he can't be, but yeah, it's like. And a lot of it is enhanced. Don't get me wrong, but just at just peak physical build and physique. It's like, Jesus Christ, none of them got any bigger than this. I don't think. But anyway,
yeah, like I said, just kind of. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like you said, there wasn't a lot to the match, but I actually did enjoy it when. And it's going to be down the line. They're going to have a one-on-one feud. I actually like Lex Luger and Ron Simmons together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you wouldn't think it. And I'm not saying Ron's bad, but, Luger doesn't typically work well with another big jacked-up guy like him,
Yeah.
But these guys.
But for a big jacked-up guy like him, Ron Simmons is an exceptional worker.
Yeah.
And that's something we've talked about on the show before. Luger wrestles to his opponent,
Yeah. But I just thought it was really good. Matt, those two in the ring excited me.
And again, I wasn't saying this match was shitty at all by any means. It was still a decent tag match. I just expected, I don't know what I expected, but during the match as it proceeds, Luger winds up on the outside. And then Danny Spivey comes out and attacks Lex Luger on the outside, which kind
for
of
a way longer period of time than it should have been.
Yeah.
Definitely. The referee should have noticed that by then.
Mm-hmm. Aaron's right. It wasn't just like a Spivey came out and gave him a double axe handle and threw him into the steps and left. It was like he was giving him a beat down, an extended beat down on the outside of the ring.
He had a superstars match on the outside of the ring with Lex Luger.
But with Luger kind of put out down there by Spivey, Sting has to go against Doom on his own. Comes back, makes the big babyface comeback against both of them, but he winds up going for a high cross body onto Butch Reed, to which Butch Reed sends Sting sailing over the top rope. And as convenient as it is, because they only use it when it's convenient.
Yeah, I hate that stupid rule.
The top rope rule is applied here, and Doom is disqualified for Sting being put over the top rope.
It's very stupid. And like other matches, they'll be like, "Oh, it was the referee didn't call it because it was the momentum."
Yeah, well, this was literally the momentum.
This was momentum. Yeah.
But yes, it is one of those stupid.
Butch Reed should have been like, "What? Because be black?" Like that's why he should have been like, "Is that what it is?" But also, I don't like the rule because how easy would it be for like a champion in WCW if he thinks he's starting to get beat to just throw his opponent over the top rope?
Right. Well, and it is.
You know what I mean?
It's one of those stupid. It's a stupid rule. It's one of those stupid things. It's like every time on Reliving the Extreme that we are reviewing an ECW show, and all of a sudden there happens to be a match where we're going to have a disqualification. Yet every other match on this 10-match card broke down out to the outside. There was no count out. People are hitting each other with cheese graters and kitchen sinks. But this match, there's a disqualification.
Or in this one, chairs and ladders are legal.
Yeah.
I thought they were legal in all of them. But yeah, I guess it's just an easy out, lazy booking idea. Lazy booking.
Well, then the two teams continue to fight in the ring afterwards. Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah. Yes. I forgot about the post-match thing. I was just gonna say about where we're gonna talk about another misspeak somebody does here in a second.
Maybe I didn't catch it because I don't have.
And he does it like 3 more times.
All right,
I'll tell you.
I'll tell you. Because the next thing I have written down here is Missy Hyatt telling us that there was the sexiest wrestler contest.
Yes, okay, that's what it was. Okay. But before they went to commercial, Jim Ross said, "Come on back, we're going to tell you who the sexy wrestler is."
I didn't even notice the sexy.
Like, I don't know why. I don't know why he can't say sexiest, which I don't want him talking about it anyway. But he says it 3 more. We're not gonna spoil it for y'all. But the guy coming up in the next match, he's voted the sexiest wrestler. But Jim Ross says it like 3 more times during the match that this man is
the sexy wrestler.
This man is the sexy wrestler. He was voted the sexy wrestler. It's like, stop saying that. It sounds like you're specifically saying it.
I think he's a sexy wrestler. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what it sounds like. Like, settle down, Jim. Jesus. Yeah. Like, the only person that should be talking about the sexiest wrestler is Missy Hyatt.
Yeah. Instead, Jim Ross is like, me and Jim Barnett think this is the sexy wrestler.
Yeah. The sexy wrestler is, drum roll, Z-Man Tom Zenk. That's your sexy wrestler.
I don't know I think Barnett's still in the WWF at this point, but I had to bring him up. I can't remember when he goes back to work for WCW after he worked for Vince. But yes, Missy Hyatt. Missy Hyatt says that she thinks she should have won, but she's not a wrestler. She understands that if she was going to pick the sexiest wrestler, she would have picked this man too. And the fans voted for Tom Zenk, the Z-Man, the world television champion.
Yes. Trying really hard to get this guy over as a hunk, which is what it is. I know I'm not in that way. I know I'm a bigger fan of Tom Zenk than you are, but I think he's is what it is. I mean, we're getting, I think, almost to the end of that type of babyface. You know?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Because you're getting very much away from like the wrestler going out and doing 8x10s with the fans, and you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
that's not a thing anymore. And you're getting
And
more into like, I'm not saying chicks still didn't dig wrestlers and like certain wrestlers because they thought they were, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
chicks probably thought Scott Hall was very like a big handsome guy, so obviously they're gonna like him, you know. And chicks dug Bret Hart because they thought he was good looking, but it's a different kind of like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like Bret Hart wasn't shaking his ass to like, I don't know, Tush by ZZ Top, like that type of thing. You know what I'm talking about? And
Yes.
Bret Hart coming out in a big top hat, the sharp dressed man wouldn't have worked.
Something I did write down here, and I do it a lot with WCW because of how WCW's TV tapings should. We always talk about WCW's TV tapings and how far advanced they tape things and everything.
Yeah.
So whenever I see somebody, because I got to check my timelines, whenever I see somebody come out announced as a champion and they don't have a belt on, I check to see, was there a title change already? And they just haven't aired it on TV yet. And there was. This match is Bobby Eaton versus Z-Man, supposedly for the World Television title. But I went and looked, and actually Arn Anderson had already won the TV title on January 7th at a TV taping. So,
well, if they hadn't even played it yet, why did they just have him come out with the belt?
Yeah, I don't know. But yes, Zank is technically not the television champion during this match.
And then what was that shit like Bobby Eaton came out to?
It was people chanting Bobby, Bobby, Bobby. I was weirded out by that too. I was like, what? I don't remember this.
But it wasn't even really people chanting Bobby because you heard the tape cue up. You heard it going like they actually played it in reverse.
At first, I thought it was going to be, when I heard the sound be weird, I thought it was going to be like a WWE network, like another version of the Midnight Express music or something.
No,
you know what I mean?
Just a piped in,
an obnoxious piped in
Bobby chant. And he's like, he's supposed to be the bad guy anyway.
Yeah.
So like, I was like, was this going to be like his gimmick? Like he was like, the people are all chanting my name, and they're like, you're playing it yourself.
That would have actually worked if they would have ever, let the cat out of the fucking bag.
Yeah, it was super annoying. Jim Ross, like I said, a couple more times says that Tom Zank is the sexy wrestler. And it's not a bad little match because these two obviously are going to have a good serviceable match. Tom Zank gets a backslide. Supposedly gets the 1, 2, 3, but it didn't. It actually wasn't a 1, 2, 3. They fuck it up.
Yeah, and it's funny because I wrote down. It's funny because I wrote down on my notes that Z-Man wins to the backside, but it looked like Eaton got out of it to me. And then I noticed that after the break, Dusty actually brings that up. So they acknowledged it. So I don't know if they acknowledged it because these two guys fucked it up, or if they acknowledged it because they were going somewhere with it. So,
it's. I don't think they were going anywhere with it. I just think they knew it was as blatant as the nose on somebody's face. So they were like, let's just mention it.
They should have been like, well, it doesn't matter anyway because he's not actually the champion. Anyway.
Yeah, he's not actually the champ.
Then we get Alexandria York.
And then, and I was just gonna say we get her, and so let's get some more information on Miss Alexandria York, and her big statement is, I think I've made a good selection.
Yeah.
Well, I would hope so.
And then I also wrote down here, I want to say Rotunda's gone.
Yeah.
But did you notice that he was still in the opening video?
Yeah. It's hard to get rid of one of those quick.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, like he was in the opening video still with the Michael Wall Street gimmick on. But I think he's actually headed for the W because he's going to be IRS by SummerSlam.
Yeah, he's out.
But yeah. And then we get the Freebirds.
The not Freebirds.
In a nothing burger match against Tommy Rich and Alan Iron Eagle, who is actually, I think, Joe Gomez.
It is. I have my notes. My notes are Joe Gomez sucks. Pretty boring match. Joe Gomez sucks. Double DDT on Joe Gomez. 1, 2, 3. Winners. The not fabulous Freebirds. Side note. Joe Gomez sucks. Dude is terrible, man. Never liked that guy. He's got like the worst match in Starrcade history.
Against Mongo?
Yes.
Does he wrestle? I was gonna say I think it's against Mongo.
It is. Terrible.
But yeah,
sure Starrcade.
The Freebirds. If it's not a Starrcade, it definitely stinks up a pay-per-view of some kind. It actually might even be no. I was gonna say it might even be. It's not a Starrcade '97, I don't think. Anyway, getting off the. But yeah, this is a nothing burger match that the Freebirds win against Tommy Rich and Alan Iron Eagle.
Sorry, now it's gonna bug me. I know they wrestled at a bash. I think it's Bash at the Beach. It's that Bash at the Beach when Hogan turns.
Oh, okay.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm checking something.
It still stinks.
I don't know why shit like this bothers me. But Mongo.
Yeah, I can't remember. That's not at Starrcade, that match?
No, it was Bash at the Beach where Hogan turns. I misspoke because Mongo has the worst match. He does still have the worst match at Starrcade, though. In '97, he fights Goldberg.
Oh.
Fighting over Super Bowl rings.
Oof.
Joe Gomez's feud with Mongo was all set up because he was a Bears fan and he was upset that Mongo turned. Like he was like his childhood hero, and it's like you guys are the same age. Don't mean to disrespect Mongo, but yeah.
Jim Ross and Dusty Rhodes come back from the commentating position, and now they're sending it up to the stage area where Tony Schiavone is standing by with Paulie Dangerously, who is going.
We missed a cool commercial for
the Wrestle War.
Over the Wrestle War '91. I missed those type of old wrestling commercials, and it's also one of like the probably top 10, top 5 best pay-per-views in WCW history. So
it is a really good pay-per-view.
Yes.
And it also gets a real life reaction from Dusty Rhodes during the War Games match too.
Jesus Christ!
When Sid does the powerbomb on Pillman and cracks Pillman's head into the cage,
and it's like an abrupt drop to the bottom. Like It's not even that part of it that's the bad part. It's the fact that it's so quick and sudden.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like you get no time to like something like that. It's like to a fan. Or maybe not. I'm not even going to try to say that I'm some kind of wrestling expert, because I'm not, But to somebody that doesn't know what they're looking at, they might be like, "Oh, he barely picked him up." It's like he didn't give him any time to like prepare for the bump. You know what I mean? He just literally just picked that guy up and slammed him down onto a fucking piece of wood.
Yeah, and Dusty's like, Jesus,
with no time to get his hands there, and now his boss is sitting there watching it.
But
Jesus Christ, you just fuck that kid up. But no, this next segment's fun.
Yeah, it's
sorry.
Again, Tony Schiavone is discussing with Paul E. Dangerously, because Paul E. is going to have his arm wrestling match later on with Missy Hyatt. He's going to, put the women back in the kitchen, et cetera, et cetera. He's doing the misogynistic thing. And
he cut it in like Martin Luther King Jr. esque type things, and I like the Paul. I don't know if you caught, but Dusty kind of implies that Paulie is a homosexual.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's fun. It's four really talented people having an interaction and doing their jobs well.
And I love I know I keep bringing it up. It's probably old hat at this point, but I do love the early to mid 90s evolution of Tony Schiavone's hair.
Yes.
The many bouffants of Tony
The many
Schiavone.
bouffants of Tony Schiavone.
Like
By
by the time you get to the Nitro era, he's just got like he looks like a district manager haircut or whatever. But
yeah,
in the 90s,
and
the many bouffants of Tony Schiavone.
Yeah, but then also towards the end of WCW, it starts to change again too because Tony starts to change because they want him to look hipper. So he starts like slicking. First, he's like slicking his hair back, and then he's got it like in a curl in the front, and they have him like in a big leather jacket. It's like, what are you doing to Tony? He's just supposed to be like your uncle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
well, in the next matchup here, a fire hydrant comes to the ring.
Yes. Jumping Joey Maggs. I'd never seen jump.
It's Joey Maggs versus Sid Vicious, and Sid is doing the stretcher. He's doing the stretcher gimmick that he would later carry on to the WWF with him.
Yeah. I don't know who it was, but somebody was like, "Hey, let's take our second biggest guy because El Gigante is our biggest guy, you know." Or I'll say it this way: like, let's take our biggest heel, like not our biggest like on the card, but like our biggest like height heel, and let's book him against our littlest baby face. Also, Sid, like I don't know, he always was cheered. Like they pop huge for him on this thing. It's one of those pops too, where like they cheer before his music even hits because they're like setting up his entrance so they see him, you know. And we talk about WCW music all the time, but we haven't really ever talked about his theme. I don't know if like, did you like Sid's theme?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I liked his Sid Justice theme in WWF better.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too, and I didn't have that in my notes or anything, but you saying it is, was there ever a time that a promotion got the crowds to actually turn on Sid? Because he's one of those guys they always tried to book as a heel, and like you said, he never got booed. Like even booking him against Hogan, they had to edit the fucking crowd at the Royal Rumble.
No, there isn't.
Like, is there? I mean, there's just I don't know, and maybe during that, I mean, there's just never a time where they always booked him as a heel, but he never got booed. People didn't want Sid to be they wanted to be a bad guy, but they didn't want to be a heel, if that makes sense.
That's what because he did what they should have. How do I say it? And it was a little different because he was a different kind of thing. But it's like when he'd get to like the big match and have the fight with the guy, it would be longer, you know.
Right.
But wrestling fans want to see a big sumbitch come out there and fuck somebody up and just be like, "What do you think of that?" and then walk away. You know what I mean? Like Paulie knew it. That whole time Sid was in ECW. Go out there, hit a couple of choke slams, powerbomb the motherfucker, and leave.
Yeah.
And it's like what they fucked up with Goldberg. You know what I mean?
Yep. But I wrote down my notes on this match: Joey Maggs versus Sid Vicious. Dusty and Jim Ross on commentary are just putting Sid over the moon. Sid wins with a power bomb. He puts Maggs on the stretcher, or he has his own paramedics, of course, put Maggs on the stretcher.
Yeah.
And then once Maggs is on the stretcher, he knocks him around, and it's effective. It's the match was a minute long. The segment was 4 minutes long, and it did everything it was supposed to do for the Sid character.
Yep.
We get an ad for the 1-900 line. I did not write down the daily segments. I was going to, and then I forgot to. Because, as the 900 line evolves, until Mean Gene gets there and just takes it on as his own moneymaker, they have Monday is Dusty Rhodes, Tuesday is the Ross Report.
Yeah, then you have lunch with Lex. I don't know. It's weird shit.
And then I wrote down here, Tony Schiavone interviews Sid Vicious on the stage talking about war games. And I listen to Sid Vicious interviews like I listen to good interviews, because there's always something that's fun in a crazy Sid Vicious interview. Like he says on this interview, he says, all you people in this audience. And I know what he's thinking. It's Sid. So you know what he's thinking. But, usually you would say, all you idiots in the audience and all you idiots at home, right?
Yeah.
In this interview, Sid says, all you people in this audience and all you idiots in that camera. That's what he said. I mean, it's like I said, I know what he means. He means all you people at home, but he said all you idiots in that camera. Watch out for Sid Vicious at War Games.
And then we get Ricky Morton versus Terry Taylor.
Good match.
It is a good match. It's a good, solid match. Back and forth action. I don't know how much you want me to discuss the match or how much you want to go through it. It doesn't matter to me.
I actually don't have a lot of notes on it.
I don't have a lot of notes either, but Miss Alexandra York comes out, which distracts Ricky Morton long enough for Terry Taylor to get the advantage.
I think one thing I did write down, I'm sorry, but I'm just saying, I think it's funny that I think this was again, Rotunda's gone. Dusty's back. And I think to be honest with you, I think that the way this played out was because they booked this that day.
Possibly.
Because they play a York promo in the split screen thing where she talks about she, like Aaron said, she comes out during the match. And then they play a promo during the match with her saying, and my new acquisition is Terry Taylor.
Yeah, and it is, I want to say this, I think Terry Taylor is better for that computer gimmick than Mike Rotunda.
Yes, and they also screwed it up when they introduced him, by the way.
Yeah, the computerized male of the 1990s. I think he's better for that gimmick because he's flashier. Has a better personality and stuff, Yeah. It's like you would think the computerized man wouldn't be boring. Right. But it is the most anticlimactic heel turn in the history of heel turns, I think. Because he doesn't even hit him with the computer or anything, or cheat. He ducks and Ricky Morton fucks up and gets himself pinned. Because he just ducks the drop kick and Morton hits the ropes and knocks himself out, and Ricky Morton and then Terry Taylor pins him. So it's it wasn't even what I was this is the most anticlimactic. These fans probably don't even know what happened.
Yeah. Like I said, I think this was booked this day. It just came off that way. It just, you know what I mean? It didn't seem like there was any build to it. And then they let her cut the promo saying that he's the new member while the match is going on. And I just wanted to check my time frame. I looked up for Mike Rotunda, and it literally says here on Wikipedia. Let me get back to it. Talks about blah blah blah. He formed the York Foundation with Alexander York. The partnership ended when Rotunda left the WWF for a new role, or left the NWA for a new role at WWF in January '91. So yeah, Rotunda probably left on Tuesday, and they had to book this for Wednesday, I bet.
So yeah, like I said, it's pretty rough. I think they kind of get a little more traction with it going forward, Yeah. But yeah. The initial launch of the York Foundation is pretty boring and lame.
And like you said, it's a much better role for Terry Taylor than for Mike Rotunda, and it's a much better role for Terry Taylor than what they had Terry Taylor doing before. So,
yeah.
Then we get a little hype video for the Japanese women competing at Wrestle War 91. And
Bill Apter gives Sting the Wrestler of the Year and the Inspirational Wrestler of the Year awards.
Yes, Bill Apter gets to present awards to Sting.
That's why the WCW guys won so many of them at this point, because WWF would never have let Bill Apter on their TV show.
They wouldn't even let Bill Apter at ringside to do photographs at this point.
And then Dusty cuts a promo about supporting the troops, which a lot of people are going to do here going forward. I don't know how long that war lasted, but
the war itself lasted a matter of days. Wrestling milked that teat for a year. Like the war lasted.
Well, you know what I mean, the occupation or whatever you want to call it.
Yes. But yeah, it is funny that like that war was over long before wrestling. Like I think when Vince started the Slaughter thing and everything, they were expecting like this long protracted war that was going to go on forever. And by the time the Slaughter heel turn is over, that war's been over almost I don't know. They milked it longer than the war actually lasted. But
yes,
yeah, it's not like wrestling hasn't done that shit. They were booking Fuji and them to talk about Pearl Harbor fucking 30 years after World War II was over. But anyway. Yeah. Then speaking of the military, it's our old friend Ranger Ross.
He's fighting the El Cabuno or whatever.
El Cubano.
Which is just Fidel Sierra. Why didn't they just let him be Fidel?
And literally, dude, my notes say, why did we put this mask and stupid outfit on him? He's the Cuban assassin. Why can't he just be the Cuban assassin?
Be the Cuban assassin. Why has he got to be the Cuban?
Yeah. Maybe make him the son of the Cuban, El Hijo de Cubano.
Yeah, it's stupid. The match is boring, but it has one of the funniest things I've ever seen in the history of professional wrestling.
Oh, what did I miss?
You missed him trying to do that leg drop over the top rope to the floor, and totally missing.
I guess I did. I must not have been paying any fucking attention.
Oh, you gotta go back and watch it, because he knocks Fidel out of the ring, and he's gonna jump over the top rope to the floor and hit a leg drop onto him, and just completely misses it. And the best part is because he must have figured out, I think he's hit it before, or at least did it, like practiced it.
Mm-hmm.
And people saw him do it, because he goes to do it, and Dusty Rhodes like, look at this tremendous maneuver, and he like just completely whiffs the guy.
I must have went to piss or something, because I did not.
And
I don't even have that.
The crowd wasn't into the match to begin with, and then this happened, and it was like, all right, they're done with this. He completely, like, it was so funny. I rewound it like twice and rewatched it. It's one of the biggest just wet farts or whatever in the history of wrestling that I've ever seen. It's like, what is that? He didn't even come close to hitting him. Like, to the point where Fidel Sierra sold nothing. Like, he just kept he leaned over like he was going to take it to the back of the head,
Mm-hmm.
But Ranger Ross just completely whiffs him. So, like it said, Sierra he just put his head back up and let himself get punched. Like, he didn't sell it at all.
Good for him.
He came nowhere near him. It's so funny. And then Ross hits a sunset flip for the 1-2-3, and that's how it ends. That guy sucked too.
And the next match.
2 of the next 4 sucked too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, could you have more opposite tag teams here? It's Arn Anderson and Barry Windham, of course, the Horsemen against the Renegade Warriors, Chris and Mark Youngblood. So, like I stated on the last show, but I've said it before and I'll say it again, Jay was the only good Youngblood. I even think, honestly, I even think Jay's a little overrated, but anyway, I think Jay Youngblood is one of those guys that benefits from the fact that he died young. I'm not trying to disparage him, but what I'm saying is, yes, him and Ricky Steamboat were a great tag team, but that was because he was in the ring with Ricky Steamboat and they were a great tag team. I never saw Jay Youngblood do anything as a singles that really impressed me. And I really do think that he is regarded in such high regard, because he had a great tag team with Ricky Steamboat and he didn't live long enough to have shittier matches later in life.
It's possible. These two did, though.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Like, I've never been like, man, I didn't like that Arn Anderson-Barry Windham match, but I didn't like that Arn Anderson-Barry Windham match.
Yeah.
They just looked Bush League. Their outfits were stupid. It looked like they were just two northeastern.
Oh no, it's
independent guys. Like, that's what, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It is two guys that are like the Strongbows trying to be the Strongbows in the early 90s, because the Strongbows suck too. You know? I mean, I know Jay Strongbow was over in the Northeast. You know what I always say? I'll never deny somebody was over. Jay Strongbow was over, but he fucking sucked. Yeah, like I won't deny that he was over.
I heard he was just like, everything I've read too, he's a shitty guy, a shitty person.
Mm-hmm.
Just a shitty human being too. But yeah, these guys, they suck. Like I said, their outfits are stupid. Just, it's like, just go the fuck home. Sit the fuck down. Renegade.
I don't think they're long for the world with Dusty in charge now. So,
hopefully not. Hopefully not.
But yeah, Barry Windham hits I don't know if it was Mark or I don't know if it was
either that you read and you find out it's like they had contracts all the way up into 1999.
Right.
Like, what? And once every 3 years, they worked a worldwide taping.
Wouldn't be surprised. Actually, now that you mention it, I think one of them is still around for one of those Battle Bowl things. Now that you mention it. But anyway, like during the era of, when we get to the era of Big Sky.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Just these power plant fuck-ups. Yeah, go
ahead. Barry Windham hits a lariat.
Yeah, Barry gets this. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know if it's Chris or Mark, but Barry Windham hits a lariat on one of them and a superplex, and then Arn Anderson gets the spine buster, I believe, for the pinfall. Or no, Arn gets the pin. I think he does the spine buster after the bell, just to put some stank on it.
Yeah, because Windham hits the superplex and Arn gets the pin because Arn's the legal man, and then they fuck up the other.
Okay, yeah.
The other young blood.
Yeah, because my notes just said Windham with a lariat and a superplex, and then I put Arn with a spine buster, but I must not have put Arn with the pin and then the spine buster. So yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm just, for the record, that's how it went down.
Yeah, these guys are a couple Gomez's.
And then after this match, Tony Schiavone hypes up that we're going to have the big rematch from the Japanese match between Big Van Vader and Stan Hansen at Wrestle War 91. And then they show us some of the footage from their match in Japan, which, watching Hansen and Vader wrestle each other in Japan is a delight if you like to watch two big guys beat the fuck out of each other.
Yes.
And I do.
And I do too. And Tony, once again, as he's in here, as Stan Hansen is yelling, has like that great facial expression on his face where he's just
Tony's always disgusted by Stan Hansen.
Disgusted by Stan Hansen. Just like, oh. No, like, he doesn't even try to get near him. Like,
Yeah, yeah, he does
from him.
I don't know how to describe it audio wise, but he does I'm holding the microphone close to the guy, but I'm standing as far away as I possibly can.
Like I'm holding the end of the handle of the microphone.
Yeah.
And he's just got that gross look on his face. He doesn't. I don't know. He did like. I've seen Tony interview a lot of people, but I'm like, I've never seen him do such as good of a job as he did with Stan Hansen.
And I also did write down here. I know he always has it, but this might be the biggest amount of chaw I've ever seen in Hansen's face while he's cutting a promo. It's like he's got the whole bag in his fucking mouth.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So everything on this is good. You get to see the Vader stuff. Tony's disgusted. Hansen looks filthy. He's telling the fans they have no idea what they're in for. Yeah, he insults he insults the American wrestling fan, the American wrestlers. It's good shit.
One of my favorite things about Stan Hansen and Vader is it's the beauty of professional wrestling, because you watch these two guys and what they do against each other and what they do against other people and stuff too in the ring. And then you always hear about how actually behind the scenes, two of the sweetest teddy bears you've ever met. Just really nice fellas, and just like, then they go out there and they just look like they are the fucking meanest, baddest motherfuckers. And that's the art of professional wrestling. That's why I respect them so much, because it's like Brett says, I wrestled all these years. It always looked like I was fucking somebody up and I never hurt anybody.
Yeah. Like you said, like Vader, like you could it's really easy to hurt his feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why Shawn was able to fuck with him.
Yeah.
Because for one, he wasn't able to. He knew he couldn't go back to WCW. He burnt that bridge. And then, like I said, so it's like he's a sensitive guy, and just but not to get too into the weeds on it. But you're right. Like they always said, Stan Hansen, nicest guy in the world, never hurt anybody on purpose, sort of because he couldn't see.
Yeah. The next matchup, I actually have a question written down here because I'm sure we've talked about it before. And I don't know if this is a guy that we're of two minds on or if we agree. Because the next match is Flying Brian against Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker of the State Patrol.
Did you write Son Buddy Lee Parker?
Yes.
I did too.
Because I have always been a fan of Buddy Lee Parker. I like Buddy Lee Parker.
Buddy Lee Parker was perfect for what they used him for. Just a serviceable guy that
actually
could work with a younger guy, and he's never going to be your world champion.
Not to cut you off either, but I always thought for WCW at this time, with any ridiculous thing, and WWF did plenty of ridiculous too, but WCW never did WWF like WWF could. We've talked about that before. When they try to be like Vince, they can't, because only Vince can do Vince. But for this period of time, early to mid 90s in WCW, I actually liked the State Highway Patrol or the State Patrol. I thought, it is what it is. It's a Southern kind of gimmick because they're like Southern State Highway Patrol guys with the fucking aviators and they're assholes. But I thought they were a good tag team. And like I said, I don't know. I like Buddy Lee Parker. I thought, like you said, he was good for what he was supposed to do. He always made the guy he was in the ring with look good.
He was their Barry Horowitz. He was just their number one jobber.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like he had a gimmick.
He's definitely probably my.
He would beat other jobbers.
He's probably my second favorite WCW jobber. Everybody knows my favorite is the Gambler. Always will be. Love the Gambler.
Yeah.
I like Nasty Ned as well.
Yeah. But Buddy Lee Parker was, like I said, like Barry Horowitz sometimes would get a match on TV against another jobber and beat them.
Yeah. Barry Horowitz would beat the Brooklyn Brawler. Yeah.
Yeah, like he was King Jobber. And
King Jobber.
It's kind of like what Buddy Lee Parker was. Like he was king shit in that worldwide locker room. Like I sit at the table and I play cribbage, and people come over and call me boss at center stage.
Well, of course, until Sting and Flair show up.
Oh yeah, no, they're not gonna be here. But like you gotta like Gambler shows up and fucking I don't know. Larry Santos like you better go over there and shake hands with Sarge. Or you ain't getting nothing here.
Give him the weak handshake.
Yeah, you ain't getting nothing in here if you don't.
But yeah, like I said, I couldn't remember. We've done, this is episode 257, so we've done a fuck ton of episodes of this show going back to 2017, so I couldn't remember if we've ever debated Buddy Lee Parker or not. But I just, like I said, I'm a fan of the guy. Never did. I even, I didn't even mind it was one of those few things in WCW, like the shitty end of WCW. I didn't even mind the little angle with him being Sarge and the Bill Goldberg thing and like that role that he played. Like I never disliked the guy. I thought he was a good worker. And
me neither.
But Brian Pillman wins this match with a high crossbody. It's just a standard enhancement match.
Yep.
Jim Ross tells us to join the WCW fan club, but doesn't tell us why we should. I wrote that down because, like, at least the WWF told me I could get a cassette tape of the entrance themes if I joined the fan.
Yeah, they'll give you a tape and a hat.
Yeah, a sticker, something.
Yeah. Then the Puda, he introduces Rhubarb Jones to the world of wrestling.
Yes, Rhubarb Jones is going to become a staple, like you said. But we just talked about center stage.
Yep. So Rhubarb Jones. I actually like Rhubarb Jones as a ring announcer.
I do too.
He's dead, so there's that. But
Rhubarb Jones is dead.
Yeah, because I wanted to look up because I was like, how do you get the nickname Rhubarb? That's what I cared about. But then, like, it didn't tell me that. But it did tell me that he died. So I'm like, all right, that sucks. He died in
I just know. I'm pretty sure wasn't he an Atlanta DJ?
Yeah, he was like the number one country DJ in like the United States. So yeah, I mean he was a big deal in that area of the country.
1991.
This was like right, but
I'm the Shadow Stevens of country radio,
of country music. Because this was like right before country like became a thing. You know what I mean? I shouldn't say a thing, but you know what I mean. Like we didn't like where we grew up, there wasn't just a country music station.
Right. Shadow Stevens. All right, so this is going back. Sometimes these shows get me into my memories. I remember it was like the Casey Kasem top 40. I'm Casey Kasem, and here's top 40. And then there was the Rick D's top 40.
Yeah.
But my top 40 of choice was the Shadow Stevens top 40.
Yeah.
Because Shadow Stevens had the voice, and he was the one that had the slight echo. And he was the one that as he would talk, they would do this loop of the beginning notes of the song where it however long he wanted to talk, instead of him having to get out in that 19 seconds that was the opening, Shadows, they would just play that 19 seconds over and over again until Shadow was done talking. Shadow was my top 40 choice at the time.
And he would keep in anything, if I remember right. I was littler than you, so I could be wrong, but wouldn't he keep in anything that would be like considered rap?
Yes,
too?
yes. He didn't do the crappy like Casey Kasem and Rick D's. If there was like an R&B song that had a rap in the middle of it, they would cut it out. Shadow would keep it in there.
Yeah. Or even like I know he didn't play a lot of like gangster rap music, but they'd even be like they wouldn't even play it on the radio. they just like it at number 27.
Yeah, Casey Kasem would be like 27.
It'd
Number
be like
27 is MC
tag team.
Hammer, and
Whoop.
you can't touch this.
Tag team, whoop, and there it is. Like, you're not gonna play whoop, there it is. That's too gangsta for you, Jaggy. You fucking. I was about to talk shit about Casey Kasem. I can't do
Casey
that.
Kasem.
But anyway,
I'm the one that got us
so
off
horny.
on that. What'd you say?
It's like, and at number 7, me so horny.
Me so horny. 2 Live Crew.
You ever want to watch one of the funniest things in television history? Watch 2 Live Crew on the Donahue Show. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, fuck yes.
Where they go and play the fuck shop. And like 90% of the audience is just disgusted.
Appalled.
Appalled. And then like 10% of it are like 30-year-old, 40-year-old guys that are just laughing their asses off. Not only at the song, but at the appalled people in the crowd. And when they're done, it's just silent. They're like, at the fuck shop. It's just a small studio audience. People just staring at them, and they're staring at the audience. Oh, it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
So we went from Rhubarb Jones to Shadow Stevens to Casey Kasem to 2 Live Crew on Donahue to come back to Paul Heyman and Missy Hyatt in a very quick arm wrestling segment.
Yeah. Quick and what it needed to be.
Absolutely. Paulie had to lose, and he had to lose quick, and he had to look stupid.
And you had to get her out there in some kind of outfit so people cared about what was going on.
Yes. And
that's what they did.
And you know, it's funny because there's a lot of people that make fun of Missy Hyatt today. I don't know.
They shouldn't.
Well, no, what I'm saying is they make fun of Missy Hyatt today the way Missy Hyatt has made her choices, and Missy Hyatt has made her money. Missy Hyatt should have. I wrote down here just because Missy Hyatt at some point should have went to Vince.
She tried. They made all those Missy Manners, and she put those out on TV.
I fucking forgot about that shit.
They put them on they never saw the light of day, but she put them on her YouTube, and they weren't very good. And they offered her, when they didn't like it, they offered her. They said they'd make her a Federette, and she said, "I'm not a Federette. I'm a worker. I'm a personality."
And I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. Because everything she ever did entertained me. Like, there's
the reason that. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, just from the beginnings with her and fucking John Tatum, you know, and just all the way through, like everything she ever did in the business entertained me. Like, she was a fucking talent.
Those Missy Manor things didn't work was not completely her fault. They just put her in an environment that wasn't what she was. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
And then didn't give her the opportunity like they did to Tammy to get out of that situation.
Yeah. She either needed to be her character either needs to be the bitchy heel, you know, and I'm not saying that in a mean way, but she either needs to be the bitch heel that I'm better looking than everybody else,
right?
Or she needs to be like the join me and Jim Cornette as we talk about that. She's not a sit down on a couch and interview Bobby the Brain Heenan,
right?
You know what I mean? That's not what her character is. It either needs to be bubbly. I'm going to do your bumpers into your shows so you can see me on TV, or she needs to be the shitty, mean heel lady.
Yeah.
And they didn't let her do it. So, yeah, that Missy Manor stuff, that was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah, it must have been because I completely forgot about it until you just brought it up. Like, I forgot about the fact that she ever even had a shot in the Fed.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
But yeah, they get this. They get the arm wrestling thing out of the way. Excuse me. And then we go to a segment with Lawrence Taylor.
It's funny you mentioned Mike Rotunda because he's in it.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Yeah.
It was Ric Flair, Barry Windham, Kevin Sullivan, Woman, Mike Rotunda, and Terry Runnels all eating the dinner with LT, which looks like they're in a finished basement. I'm sure they're in some kind of bar somewhere, but it looked like they were in somebody's finished basement.
Kevin Sullivan was like, "Come on over. We'll have a crab bake." Nancy will make some kind in the cab. I'm just trying to think of things that sound fun in that Boston accent.
Yeah.
Hogan.
We made a really good fondue.
We made a good fondue. It took some time.
Cheeses.
It took some
4
time,
cheeses.
but nobody said life was going to be easy.
Yeah. 4 cheeses. Actually, it's 3 cheeses. It's the 3 cheeses of fear. You've heard of the 3 faces of fear. These are the 3 cheeses of cheer. They make you very happy. Gouda.
You got Gouda. You got Brie.
Brie.
And some cheddar.
So yeah, that's what happened there. And then they go into what I don't think was a success. I don't think. I think they thought this was gonna. You can tell me if I'm wrong. And neither one of these guys are bad, especially at this time. They're probably 2 of the best top 5 wrestlers in the world, or at least in the United States. But I think they thought this was gonna be like a Sting Flair type situation. I think.
I agree.
But I think it wasn't because the Sting Flair thing was like organic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's, I'm glad you brought that up because this is a good match. But you're right. I think that somebody, and again, like this is, you said earlier, we're transitioning bookers here. So was this Dusty or was this Ole? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm not sure, but I don't even think I think the match was good. But I don't even think, like, looking back at this match, as I can remember it like as a kid or whatever, but this match isn't as good as I remember it being, I don't think. I think there's a lot of lulls in it. I think it's like, I don't know. To me, it just didn't work as well as what as I remember as a kid.
And the funny part is, we're assuming that everybody knows what we're talking about because most of the people that listen to the show probably do. But our main event is Ric Flair against Scott Steiner for the World Championship. And my first note here is, oh, good, we're back to not letting Flair come out to Flair's music.
Yeah, it's just, like I said, I know when Jim Herd is still the boss, Dusty's booking. So, like, it might be, I don't know. The booker is somebody at least maybe that knows what to do with Ric Flair. But like I said, in the match itself, it's kind of a slow build. It's whatever. It is what it is. But there's a lot of dead spots in the match, and I don't know.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I agree with you. I didn't put it down as a note, but I would agree with you in that. I think this match in my brain got the nostalgia treatment.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was better than it actually was. I'm not going to disagree with you on that now that you mention it. Like watching it, I didn't write a bunch of notes down that say this shit blew my mind. Because going into it, because we've talked about it on the show the past, 5 or 6 episodes, during this time, Scott Steiner was one of the top young wrestlers in the fucking world. Ric Flair's obviously Ric Flair. And you expect with your kid brain or your teen brain, oh yeah, this is going to be fucking great. And then, like you said, I didn't find myself like falling over backwards to applaud this match at the end of the day.
Yeah. It was just a serviceable match that, like I said, I'm not saying it was bad, but to me, it was like, this wasn't good at all. I shouldn't say good at all. It wasn't to me like, oh, this was the big coming out party of
Scott
Steiner.
It's not a game changer. Yeah.
Nope. And I don't know if maybe Scott's heart wasn't in it because Scott always wanted to be a tag team. Like they left WWF because they wanted to break them up.
Yeah.
Like Bruce Pritchard wanted to strap a rocket to Scott Steiner, and Scott Steiner was like, "I'm a tag team, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
We'll leave." So I don't know if that had anything to do with it. Like I've seen Rick have better matches with Ric Flair than Scotty did in this one. So I don't know. To me, the match wasn't that good as what it's as remembered as. And then there's one point where they both went over the top rope due to momentum, so they probably should have both been double disqualified. But
yeah, good call.
And like you said, it builds down, it builds and builds and builds, and it gets to like Rhubarb Jones or it's Caputa, I think, that's counting it down. And there's points where like Caputa's like, 1 minute, 30 seconds, and like Steiner's just hitting these big power moves on Flair and like not going for a pin. It makes him look really stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
Like every move he hits, he should be going to like clinch him up and try to pin him. Instead, he's like flexing or looking at the crowd or hitting another one. It's like, it's not good.
And do you think
there's a whole miss on this thing? And if I didn't say it does end in a time limit draw, so there you go.
Do you think some of that? This is just just a theory. Do you think some of that is that obviously at this point Flair's not happy?
Yeah.
And maybe Flair's not giving Steiner everything he can. I don't know.
I don't know. I think maybe honestly, this might be a point where Rick might. I mean, obviously, I'd need to go back and check his book to see if he said anything or read any kind of shoot interviews. This might be an optimistic moment for him because no matter for whatever, at least maybe he's seeing like, hey, Dusty's back. At least
right.
At least the Booker. We might not be best friends, but at least he understands what I am. But I don't know. And it could be that Flair was starting to get in his mind because, like, by the time they get he's in whatever he's in bad shape.
Yeah.
Like if you look at it, like he's not in the best shape, like physically wise or whatever.
Because they have just as a side note. They do say that Hiro Matsuda is here because they're leading into the Flair Fujinami thing at Super Brawl. And I was just about to say in 91, of course he's gone by June, but in 91 I can't remember any standout Flair matches, even the Matsuda. I'm not a big fan of the Flair Matsuda matches, other than he does have one that I really like very shortly before he leaves, I believe, with Bobby Eaton. That's really good.
Yeah.
But
it's on the next Clash that we're going to watch.
Okay. I couldn't remember the timeline on when they actually had that match.
I believe I think it's the next one. A, how are you going to have a bad match with Bobby Eaton?
Bobby Eaton and Ric Flair, obviously.
Yeah. And two, like I said, how are you gonna have a bad match with him? And two, I mean, Ric Flair is like, how are you gonna fuck over and like lay down on Bobby Eaton? You know what I mean? Like hands down, like quotable from everybody that like is like the nicest dude in the world. Like Flair didn't like Scotty, so that might have had something to do with it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in his book, he says that he didn't like Scotty because he thought he
and
he was a bully.
And I think I honestly think that Scott Steiner is one of the best tag team wrestlers of all time. And I know that by the time he got to his big world title singles run or whatever, he was Big Papa Pump and he was a completely different wrestler and a completely different character and a completely different everything. Scott Steiner is one of those guys that when he's a tag team wrestler, he's one of my favorites, but as a singles, never did much for me.
Yeah. I much prefer his brother in that aspect of it.
But yeah, like Aaron said
that plenty of times.
Like Aaron said, Flair and Steiner, world title, goes to a time limit draw here at the Clash of the Champions. And again, not a bad match. We're not shitting on Steiner or Flair particularly, but again, I liked the fact that you brought it up. In hindsight, it really was like I remembered this match in my mind being much better than it actually was.
It's not.
This ain't Michaels and Angle from WrestleMania 21. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It is not.
So that's Clash 14. And as I say every time we do one of these, did we go down? Did we go up? Did we stay status quo? And actually, I think this Clash took a step back from last time.
I do too. I think it's hurt from a changing of the guards type situation, but hopefully next week we get back on track.
Next week, I believe,
it's going to be Clash 15 at Knoxville, USA.
Knoxville, USA.
Yes. Dumb name for a show, but that's what they're calling
it. Give you one guess what town that Clash takes place in, folks.
Vegas.
And I also wrote down there's a big time jump between these next two, between this Clash and the next one. It's like 6 months. Because I think, am I wrong? By the next one is no. Oh, you said it's Flair and Eaton's at the next one. So Flair's not gone yet by the time we get to the next.
I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to be. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Well, we're going to wrap it up. That's Clash 14 on this episode of the We Can't Wrestle podcast. And again, apologize for no shows last week, but shit happens.
Can't control the weather.
Can't control the weather, and we're not making any money doing this. So
we're back, Rigamus.
And I apologize to Rigamus. I did not. Maybe we'll go through them at the beginning of next week's episode, because Rigamus did what we asked people to do on the Hall of Shame. Remember at the beginning of the Hall of Shame, I said, I'm not going to go through the extensive list of the Hall of Shame. And then I said, how about, if you don't know who's in it, go back and listen to the prior episodes. And he actually did it. So he actually has a lot of comments on the YouTube channel, does our friend Rigamus, of the past We Can't Wrestle Hall of Shames. So maybe we'll go through those next week. Again, I just didn't have time this week to get everything compiled, so we'll go back and do that next week.
Just real quick, yes, it is Knoxville, Tennessee, and it's Ric Flair versus Bobby Eaton in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the WCW Championship. So it's got to be towards the tail end of Flair bouncing.
Oh yeah, he's got Great American Bash is in July, and that's when they have the Wyndham Luger with the We Want
Flair. It might be the big last bang before Flair bounces for WCW for a while. So we're getting ready. That's what I'm saying. We're just getting ready to get into. I know you want to go, so I'll end it here. But it's almost the equivalent. Well, it is the equivalent of WWE needing to change when Hulk Hogan left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what it is. It's a big time change for WCW. So it's going to be kind of like that transition. It's like WWF's 93 is WCW's 91. If that makes sense.
Yeah. We're going to get some really good and some really bad.
Yes. Just like 93 and 94 for WWF.
94 is the most boring year in the history of the World Wrestling Federation.
Yeah. It is. 95 is WCW's most boring year. So.
Yep.
So there we go.
Here we go. All right. Well, that being said, we'll sign off again. As I always say, join us on Facebook, the WNR Podcast Network on Facebook and on YouTube, the WNR Podcast Network. And of course, we'll be back with Reliving the Extreme this week as well, as on that show we head towards Barely Legal. And that's it. Let's sign off. We'll see you all next week for Clash 15, Knoxville, USA. Until then, have a great week, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.